In this video, we will show you how to properly format a book review for the College of Christian Studies. The College of Christian Studies Manual of Style has more specific directions for what's required for these book reviews, and it also has a sample book review that is attached as an addendum to the manual. In addition to watching this video, please be sure to review both the directions and the sample book review before beginning any book reviews in the College of Christian Studies. It also may be very helpful to have the sample book review close by so that you can see the headings to which I'm referring to in this video. And if you've looked at the sample Christian Studies book review in the past, and as you'll see in this video here, you'll notice that we have four major headings for book reviews. The first is your introduction. The second is the summary. The third is the critical analysis. And the fourth is your conclusion. Now, some professors may choose to merge the critical analysis and the conclusion sections, and instead, what they may do is just have you include a concluding paragraph inside the critical analysis. It will be your last paragraph of your critical analysis. If this is what your professor chooses to do, that's completely fine. So what you should do is make sure with your professor, any professor for whom you're writing a book review, make sure with them what their preference is, whether they want you to have both a critical analysis and a conclusion heading, or simply a critical analysis with a concluding paragraph. Okay, so also if you've looked at the sample book review, and as you can observe here, there's a couple things we need to take note of when it comes to these headings. The first is that all of the headings in your book reviews will be all caps. Be all capital letters. You can see this clearly here. The second thing is all of these headings will be bolded in bold font. And then finally, another thing you'll notice is that all of these headings are centered. Introduction, summary, critical analysis, and your conclusion. They're all caps, they're bolded, and they're centered. And you should also observe in the sample book review that there are two single-spaced blank lines both before and after these headings. As far as single spacing, double spacing, and triple spacing is concerned, if you're a bit unclear as to what we mean by those terms, I would encourage you to look at the beginning of the CHST manual, because there's a section there that explains in pretty good detail and then gives some examples what the differences are in these different types of spacing. What we have here in this video right now on this document, everything is just double spaced. The body is double spaced, and then it's even double spaced in between the headings. But if you've looked at the sample book review, what you've noticed is that there's triple spacing. There's some additional space both before and after these headings. That's what we're going to be showing you how to do in this video. And there's actually two ways that you can achieve this additional spacing both before and after these headings. And the first way that you can achieve this spacing is by adjusting your paragraph spacing. Before you do anything else, go ahead and highlight one of your headings, and then go to your toolbar, your toolbox, your formatting palette, whatever it may be called, and you're going to adjust, as you can see here, the paragraph spacing. And after highlighting your heading, you're going to adjust the paragraph spacing to 12 points, both before and after the heading. And as you can see, if you have your sample book review close by, the spacing now matches what you see in the sample book review. I'll show it to you one more time. Make sure you highlight just the heading and then change the paragraph spacing to 12 points, both before and after. So this is one way that you can achieve the proper spacing for these headings. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to highlight everything, Command A on a Mac, Control A, or Alt A, maybe it is on a PC. But what I'm doing here is I'm just setting everything back to the way it was at the beginning, because I want to show you the second way that we can adjust this spacing. So I fixed everything back to where the paragraph spacing is back to normal. Highlight a heading again. And instead of adjusting the paragraph spacing this time, you can actually adjust the line spacing. Having just highlighted only the heading, change your line spacing to single space. And after you change your line spacing to single space, click immediately before the heading, Press enter once. Now place your cursor after the heading. Press enter twice. And you'll see that we've achieved exactly the same spacing that we did when we were adjusting the paragraph spacing. One more time here, highlight your heading, set your line spacing to single, place your cursor before the heading, press enter once, move your cursor after the heading, press enter twice. And this again is how you could achieve the correct spacing by showing you both paragraph spacing and line spacing techniques. Now one other thing that we need to adjust here, let's go ahead and adjust the spacing both before and after introduction. We'll do it by means of paragraph spacing. Change it to 12 points both before and after. 12 points of paragraph spacing, by the way, this is explained in the manual, but 12 points of paragraph spacing is equivalent to one single spaced blank line. That's why we can do either one of these methods and it turned out exactly as we need it to. 12 points of paragraph spacing equals almost exactly one single space line. And so finally, well, two other things to talk about. The first is all of the first pages of the body of any paper that you do, whether it's for a book review, whether it's for a city paper, whether it's for an exegesis paper, whatever it may be, the first page of any major part of a paper, and so in the case of the book review, the body of the paper is a part of the paper. All of the other headings will just continue on, just as subheadings will in any other papers. But you'll notice that we have this citation at the top of the book review. This is explained in the manual. This is also shown in the example paper. But you'll notice here that we are at a 1-inch margin. And being the first page of a major part of a paper, we need to adjust this to 2 inches. And the way we're going to do this, click right here, right before the citation, go to paragraph spacing, and type 69 points. And what we've done, just for right before this citation, we have 69 points of paragraph spacing, which is equivalent to basically an inch, which gives us 2 inches of margin here. Now, a couple other things to point out while we're at it. In the event you end up with a heading at the bottom of the page like this, and there's no way to fit more text at the bottom, you would need at least 2 lines here to avoid a widow, or excuse me, an orphan at the bottom of the page. Go ahead and just bump your heading to the next page. You don't want your headings to be separated from your text. The next thing, though, and the other thing I wanted to show you, is the reason that we use paragraph spacing as opposed to just adjusting the margin on the side right here is because if you adjust this margin, it's not only going to adjust it for the first page, it's going to adjust it for each subsequent page. Let's reset this to 0 points of paragraph spacing and show you the difference. If you adjust this margin to 2 inches, you've also adjusted the margins of other pages, subsequent pages. This is why it's simpler, frankly speaking, just to adjust the paragraph spacing before the initial heading than it is to adjust the actual margins. There are ways that you can do it with page breaks and section breaks that will create all sorts of potential problems for your Christian studies papers, which again is why we show you how to do the 69 points of paragraph spacing. One final thing to note before we close this video. You may have noticed if you were looking closely earlier that this heading right here seems a bit off. And by off, I mean it seems slightly off-centered. If you draw a line from conclusion straight up, and again here, you would notice if you're editing your own papers, this heading we didn't adjust yet, so you need to either adjust, we'll do line spacing here. But again, you'll notice that these are not both completely centered. What's happened here on this critical analysis heading, it says that it's centered, but there ended up being another 1/2 inch of indentation, if you can see right here where my cursor is, where I'm highlighting. Oftentimes, as you're going throughout your papers, if you hit the enter key or the return key, it's possible that you could end up with your computer believing that you're starting another paragraph. And if you're starting another paragraph, then it may go ahead and give you that 1/2 inch of indentation. You need to make sure when you're checking all your headings, and I would encourage you to check all of your headings throughout your papers, make sure that the indentation is 0 left and right, and that it's also 0 first line, so that when you actually have your headings centered, they will be truly centered. If you have any questions about this video, please feel free to contact your professor. I encourage you to watch and maybe even rewatch the video as well. And also, please do not forget to refer to the CHST manual, as that not only includes everything that we've shown you here, it also includes further details and information that you will be required to know when you are completing your book reviews. Thank you for watching.